What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Sean Black, aka DFS 5050. You can follow me on Instagram at DFS 5050. Today, just wanted to show you guys the results from last night. As y'all know, yesterday on Saturday, I gave out this particular play, and this play ended up doing very well for me. Let me go to my history real quick. And by the way, this is the top line that I had all night. Of course, I think everybody got somewhat burned by the LeBron James, Kyrie Irving news and all that good stuff. At the last minute, one of my lineups, I had LeBron James, and I'm so thankful that I only had one line with LeBron James in it. But if we go in here, my top line, load up. My top line went for 296, which was give or take about 20 or 32, 26 points away from like first place, which is of course a big difference. 120, I was in the 126th position out of 29,000. That's always a good feeling to have when you can, jump in the tournament and get real high in the rankings there. I had Jameer Nelson. He went crazy. Chris Paul didn't do so well, only 17.3 fantasy points. I don't know if y'all were watching the show yesterday, but I said George Hill would have been a good play, and he ended up doing very well. Let's see. Let's compare another one here. Yeah, George Hill did 33.4. Malcolm Brogdon did pretty well too. Anyways, Giannis didn't do so well yesterday. And mind you, this lineup that I had here was my Milwaukee stack. They didn't do very well at all. Jokic didn't do well at all either. Lopez ended up being a very solid play for me in this lineup, as well as Brogdon and Hill. But anyways, going back to the winning lineup of mine, James Harden went bananas as well. Of course, we didn't have to talk about him too much. He produced as always. And, even though the over-under in this game was overinflated, I knew that they were still going to put up some numbers. Jimmy Butler, went crazy. I think if anyone would have done a Chicago stack, especially with Valentine in the mix, I think they would have fared very well and very high in the tournaments. Blake Griffin was very solid at 86. If Cleveland could have put up more of a fight, I think he would have, been en route to having a 60-point turnout. Joe Ingles was good, especially with Rodney Hood being out. Jason Smith was very solid for his price. And I mean, as you can see, Tony Allen was really good. He was 4% owned. Jameer was 8% owned. And the key thing that I wanted to kind of put everyone to is that dope players with low ownership that actually produce can get you really high up in the tournaments. Of course, it was more or less a low-scoring affair. Of course, we are all aware of the 380s and 400 numbers, but for some reason on the weekends they don't really do that too much. But in any case, that's the lineup that I had. And moving forward in today's slate, I think I have something for you guys to look forward to. So let me go back to the lobby. And as that sets up, let me go ahead and get myself set up here for the projections that I have. Let's see. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, there we go. All right. So let's see. Okay, that's still loading up. So today, the top 10 plays I have here is Wiggins, DeRozan, Leonard, Lillard, Aldridge, George, Towns, Young, Irving, Russell, Dragic, so on and so forth. Of course, we all know that LeBron and Kyrie and Love are all out tonight for rest. And I think going into the rest of the season, I think everybody needs to be aware that 9 or 10 times they're only going to play when they're at home, especially if they don't see these games as important. They're not really worried about their playoff berth too much. So, just keep that in mind. Some of these West Coast games, they're going to be sitting out. One of my friends was making a very good point. Shout out to my man, Sean Smoot. He has a YouTube profile, Life of Smoot. You should check it out. Really dope. He was mentioning something about game theory as far as these guys, they're only going to play against people that they're trying to send a message to, especially these folks that they're going to be seeing in the finals. Someone like the Spurs, the Warriors, the Raptors, Boston, those type of guys. That's when you'll really see them in action more than some of the other NBA teams that are not necessarily going to even see the finals like that. But in any case, that's the scenario with that. So, Kyrie Irving is out. Please keep that in mind. Let me just go ahead and put an out right there on him. And James is out. Oops, there we go. Oh, I know I forgot to do something. Let me go back to my live events. And a second here. I need to detach this chat here. Pop out chat. Okay. I need to detach it. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I just want to make sure I have my chat out just in case, I had anyone that is actually tuning in on time. And, I could chat with you and answer your questions. In any case, Andrew Wiggins for 7,100. My projection has him at 39.41. Unfortunately, with Wiggins, he's been subpar. I really don't like him too much right now. I thought that he really would have been taking full advantage of Zach LaVine, considering Zach LaVine is out. Right now, is not looking like much. The past two outings, he has reached over 30 fantasy points. But honestly, if you're trying to win the GPP, you need a little bit more than that. I don't even want to say that he's even safe for cash. So, that's just something to think about, guys. Even though the matchup is favorable, really, and his usage is very high. And the thing about it is with Wiggins, I think a lot of the reason that a lot of people are very attracted to playing Wiggins, regardless of the fact if he performs well or not, is because his minutes is all the way through the roof. He's averaging about over 35 minutes a game. It's just that right now we need him to be. We need to see these kind of numbers here. 50 points, 49, 45, 39, 49. We need to see those kind of numbers out of Wiggins. I really don't feel all that confident about him. To be honest with you guys, I don't even want to waste your time with him, honestly. Right now, let's see. He's meeting his value 76% of the time. Unfortunately, his upside is at 9%. So you're not really going to get much out of Andrew Wiggins. That's especially on DraftKings. On Fanduel, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, his upside, it's not looking all that hot right now. 74%. I mean, 18% chance of him hitting his up, hitting well over 5x. But he's consistent enough to where he's averaging about 30 fantasy points per game. Honestly, use him at your own risk. I'm not feeling too hot about him at all. Kawhi Leonard was somewhat of a dud yesterday. I'm glad I didn't pick him. I honestly felt he's too expensive for the type of production that he's producing right now, and I could see him being rested a lot more going into the stretch before the playoffs. And mind you, the playoffs are right around the corner. So, I don't know. I don't know too much about Kawhi. Let's see. We can look at his numbers though, just for the sake of the show. San Antonio Spurs. Matchup is looking pretty decent. Usage is all the way up there. Efficiency rating is all the way up there. They are facing a team that right now they're just going through a reconstruction. So there's going to be a lot of there going to be boom or bust all the way through the rest of the season. I mean, one day they'll play competitive, one day they'll get blown out. So it's just depends on how everything is going. Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, he's good for cash. The thing is, this is gonna be a blowout concern, so I wouldn't even trip about it too much. I feel like this Phoenix Detroit game is falsely represented here. You know what? Let's talk about these games in the blue here. San Antonio can definitely blow Sacramento out. Cleveland, Los Angeles. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout, considering that LeBron James and Kyrie Irving are both out tonight for rest. So at least that was the news that was given to me earlier this morning when I saw it. Or was it last night? Well, in any case, if LeBron James and Kyrie Irving are both out tonight, I don't see this being a blowout. I do see this being a very up close and personal game. But anyways, that's just my thought process there with that. The Detroit Phoenix game, I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I feel like Phoenix has just as much firepower as Detroit, even though Detroit plays a little bit better defense. I do see Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shutting down Devin Booker. I do see that very much. He is in a better matchup. It's a higher over-under game. So, I mean, there's just something to look at moving forward. Oh, I apologize, guys. Okay, so these games right here are all the early games. I sincerely apologize. I want to focus on the games from 6 o'clock on down. So, for the sake of San Antonio Sacramento game, yes, I can see that as a blowout. For the Los Angeles Cleveland game, I don't see that too much of a blowout, especially if LeBron and Kyrie are both out for the evening due to rest, quote unquote. All right, so moving on down, we have, let's see here. We have Damian Lillard at 8,700. He's a pretty good play. Definitely you can plug him into your cash games and GPP games. He does have a decent upside. Let's look at his upside percentage here. 66%. And reaching exceeding value. He's averaging about 40 a game. Let's look. Portland. Damian Lillard. The matchup doesn't seem to be all that great. But if you look at his last 5, he's been averaging well over 40 points. One game he had 31. But that's okay. Miami is a very good team. There's another pivot that you can go off of with Miami, and that pivot will be Dragic. Especially Dragic at home, he tends to show out. So that's just something that might want to consider looking at. Hopefully, he's healthy enough to play. There hasn't been any recent news, but he's been putting on the show. With days rest, his floor is about 34.6. He's averaging over 35.8 fantasy points per game at home. So the matchup is looking really good on that. You could, honestly, you can really go about stacking this game. I would say top to bottom. I would just be picky and choosy as to which folks you want to stack. I would say the PGs, or whatever. Definitely the shooting guards and the power forwards in this game are definitely worth a stack. So just think about that. Let's see if I have anything here. Just double checking. All right, cool. All right, so next person in play is LaMarcus Aldridge. It's not about superstition with me on LaMarcus Aldridge. It's just that every time I always plug him in, he never reaches value, or he's out, or something is going on, and it's just too many excuses down the stretch for me to even pick him. So even though my system is high on him, what I would do, I would put him in a GPP line, and I would just do like a set and forget strategy. Like, okay, all the players that seem to be probable or questionable or prone to rest, I'll just plug him in. I'll throw $1 out there for them, but I wouldn't put them in none of my higher up GPP plays, or I guess you could say higher prize pool tournament plays and cash games. I would not put them in there. Okay, Paul George is actually someone that I want to lock in today. As a matter of fact, let me go in and just pick one. Doesn't matter. Pick one of these slates, not slates, but one of these lineup entries here. All right. So, you know what? Let's look at some news on James, see if he's actually going to play or not tonight. Okay, so there's nothing else going on with that. All right, exit out of that. We're going to lock in Paul George. Paul George is definitely somebody I want to play tonight. He's trying to make it to the playoffs. He is, basically mounting up the team to just go and start hustling up and getting to business, really. So he's going to be playing a lot of minutes going into the playoffs. So just be mindful of that. Let's look at his recent performances. Okay, so let's get all the way up here. 52, 31, 43, 43, 32, 49, 43, 31, 36. Okay, he is 8,400 right now. Okay, now with 3 days rest, his floor is going to be 33.1. On an away game, he's averaging 34.3. So for a discount of 1,500, I'd rather go Paul George over Kawhi Leonard. And even though the over-under is the lowest in the slate, there should be a lot of peripheral stats going on in this game where I will feel confident enough to want to lock in Paul George in my line. So he's definitely one in the mix. Another guy is Karl Anthony Towns. Towns over Cousins. Man, that seems to be a very interesting play there. And the reason being is because both of them are very, very talented centers. These are centers that can really, really not only bang in the paint, but they can also, do some damage from the wing as well. Towns, Last time he played New Orleans, he had 43.1 fantasy points, and that was without Cousins. So I don't know how much of a difference Cousins will make in this particular game, although be it that he is questionable. If he happens to not play tonight, then I would definitely want to plug in Carl Anthony Towns, and I would do a Davis and Towns situation where I would stack those two guys together. Uh, so that's my thought process there. So yeah, definitely do like a Davis Towns stack along with the rest of these guys. So as we're building this lineup, let's build it as if both of these guys are DeMarcus Cousins is out. Okay. And then we plug in Anthony Davis. See what kind of salary left we have. Okay, so we have about 30,000 left of salary. Um, of course, we can easily do a process of elimination here. The only concern that I have about Anthony Davis, it seems like every so often he has these, gone with the wind injuries, and and I'm honestly I'm not really a fan of that too much. Last time they played, New Orleans won. So, if Cousins is out, Davis is in play, which in turn will make Towns not in play due to the recent performance. I guess I don't want to say one or the other is more talented than the next. It's just that it just seems to be a better play, especially with Anthony Davis playing at home. So let's see. Let's look at. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So anyway, moving along. Nick Young, flyer pick of the evening. Cleveland really sucks against shooting guards. Just for salary savings, you can pick Nick Young. And for the sake of this video, we're just going to go ahead and plug in Nick Young, and see what happens with him. Okay, that just goes without question. You know what I mean? Kyrie Irving, like I said, potentially out. D'Angelo Russell. I like D'Angelo Russell, but I like Jordan Clarkson a whole lot better. I feel like Jordan Clarkson is really gunning for the top point guard position. I also feel that he's more consistent than D'Angelo Russell, and I feel like he plays more. I feel like Clarkson has more of a correlation with Julius Randle as opposed to D'Angelo Russell and Julius Randle. So that's my my thought process on that. I definitely can see him getting plugged in. So let's see here, Clarkson. Oops. Clarkson. Sorry, not Clarkson. Yeah, and also too, one of the things that I do, again, one of the things that I've been kind of preaching to everybody is I look at which teams are giving up the most points to the opposing team, and then basically if I'm having a crunch in some of the players that I have on my optimizer, or I'm not too sure, I will go to that and pick up and pick some players from that particular pool. For example, last night, Kid Gilchrist was one of those plays that I had that actually kind of worked out. One of my other lines, of course, unfortunately, that line did not cash, so it really doesn't make any sense to show that one there. But in any case, let's see. Let's move on down the line here. Goran Dragic, he's a good play tonight. So, like I was telling y'all earlier, Lillard and Dragic. Matter of fact, that's what we're gonna do. Let's remove. Oops, I need Nick Young. Let's put Young back in. And then in the point guards, I'm gonna do Lillard and Dragic. Okay. So right now, based on everything, I have about 5,000 per player or 20,000 remaining. Let's see. Hassan Whiteside seems to be in a good position. He's the he's a second center because Anthony Davis is actually a power forward. We're going off of true value here, or true position. Anthony Davis' true position is really a center, but he plays as a power forward. Keeps him from getting banged up so much. But anyways, the second center in the list will be Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside at home. For 8,800, I can definitely see those numbers being justified. But I think everyone's going to be on Whiteside at home. So in a situation like this, I probably will go with Nurkic over Whiteside. Yeah, there is some concern that with Nurkic that he will get into foul trouble early. But if he can maintain himself from getting into foul trouble, I feel like he can really have a very solid game. Nurkic 6,300, very, 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 very productive. The one game where he really sucked was against New Orleans. In this game, he only had one foul. That was kind of crazy. But, I guess, the muscle of Davis and Cousins together kind of blew him out there. But as of late, he's been reaching value and exceeding value. 5.5 on the last, second to last game, and this last game 6.6 against the Hawks. So yeah, I think I'd rather go with Nurkic. His DPP matchup is looking pretty good, and let's see what we got here. Let's see Nurkic. All right, so right now I'm at 45.67. So again, we got Damian Lillard, Goran Dragic. Okay, we got Nick Young, Paul George, Anthony Davis, and Joseph Nurkic. Okay, so now there's another player that I want to fit in here. I feel like he's going to have a good game, and that's CJ McCollum. And so I think what I'm going to do, based on my list, I'm going to plug in CJ McCollum I'm going to plug in CJ Miles and CJ McCollum and see if I can still have enough of a salary to work with to build my lineup. Okay, so I just got some news from Roto Grinders. Devin Booker is questionable. Ronnie Price is doubtful, and Leandro Barbosa remains out. So, with that being said, I don't know what opportunities that might open up for other players. Yeah, that's for anybody that's playing the early game. So, it doesn't matter, I guess. Let's see. CJ Miles. Oof. The matchup seems kind of not there, and his production is not necessarily there. He's at 3,700. 3,700. He has to give us at least 20 fantasy points for him to even have a chance. In a situation like that, I think I would want to go with let's see here. Let me find myself another small forward in my list. Damari Carroll. Yeah, we could do Damari Carroll. The matchup is good enough. And believe it or not, the Pacers do give up a lot of points to opposing small forwards. And in this slate, they give up the third most. Yeah, in this slate alone, they give up the third most. So, we can do him, or we can do a guy that I think is going to be highly owned tonight in Solomon Hill against Minnesota. So that leaves a 4,800 per player. Shooting guards. Let's see. I want McCollum. Unfortunately, though, what's going to end up happening with McCollum is he's probably going to end up taking me out. Yep. So I'm going to have to make a decision somewhere here. Oh, boy. In the center position, I have Dedmon, Towns, Cousins, Valanciunas, Turner, Nurkic, and Kufos. And even though I like Nurkic, might have to go somewhere and get me some money. Let's see. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to get McCollum in, and then we're going to move Nurkic, and that's going to put us at 4,400 per player. Let's see if we have any questions here. No questions. All right, cool. In the power forward position, there's one guy that I was looking at, and that is this guy right here, Scal, 4,200. And then in the center position, we can either go with Dedmon or Kufos. And Kufos is actually on my list, but he's number 7, and Dedmon being number 1. The reason I say Dedmon is because Pau Gasol, bless his heart, he's just not the Pau Gasol that we all know. Not because that he's not able to produce those numbers, it's because under the San Antonio Spurs system, his role is somewhat limited. He's not asked to do much. He's just asked to be that presence in the in the position. So with him being that, there's really no need for him to have 40-point nights, 40 fantasy point nights, 60 fantasy points nights like he had when he was playing with the Chicago Bulls. And anyone remembers him last season, he was a double monster with the Bulls. So, however, Dedmon is the more athletic guy out of the bunch. And he's averaging 7.6, 15 there. So in a situation like that, I think I might end up going with Kufos. Kufos is consistent. He's getting above average. He's averaging over 20 fantasy points over the last 6, 7. The one game he sat out, that doesn't count, but over the last 5 or 6, he's been averaging over 20. Let's see. Against San Antonio, he had 23. So, let's just add him in. All right. So, as y'all can see here, we have. I don't want to say this is a stars and scrubs type of play. This is more of a, I guess you could say, more of a balanced play, in which we have Lillard, Dragic, Young, McCollum, Paul George, Solomon Hill, Anthony Davis, Scal, and Costa Kufos. This team right here, if I was to do a calculation of points, let's see here. Let me go ahead and do that for y'all real quick. Lillard, 40 points. Let's see here. Young, 27.08. Dragic, 37. Did we keep Anthony Davis? We did. Okay, great. Anthony Davis, 47.81. Let's see, McCollum, 30.23. Who else do we have? Post 26.93. Solomon Hill, 19. Let's see. Okay, so those are my main guys there. And I feel like I'm missing one more person. Who's that one person that I'm missing? Oh, Scow. Let's see. Scow. Let's go with his last average of 22.7 fantasy points. All right. Make sure I ain't miss anybody. Okay, yeah. So, anyways, this lineup right here is projected to score 293 and some change. So, you know, I feel like this is as good as it gets for tonight. I mean, of course, one can make room for the Cleveland-Los Angeles game, in which we have some exposure to it. Well, really no exposure, really. We just have one. But this is definitely a game that is stackable. When I was actually doing, the amount of points that's given up to every position, you can basically stack this game on both sides. If you do want to do a Cleveland stack, Darren Williams, J.R. Smith, Richard Jefferson, and Channing Frye are in play. Now, if the stars come in and play tonight, it will be Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, J.R. Smith, and Kevin Love. Okay. I would prefer Frye over Love only because Love is just coming back from injury. On the Los Angeles Lakers side, I'll recommend Clarkson, Young, Ingram, and Randall. Or you could do Russell, Young, Ingram, and Randall. Okay. If you want to do a pivot off of Randall, you could do what's that guy's name? Larry Nance. I think that's definitely a good play there. But that's what you have there. If you want to do another stack, so to speak, you could do a contrarian stack with Sacramento, in which you can use Hield. They don't have a small forward at Sacramento, so that's unfortunate. But you could do Hield, Scal, and Kufos. That could be like a cheap stack, and then you could fit in all your stars with that particular stack there. If you want to do another stack, remember I was telling you guys about Portland and Miami, you could do a stack with McCollum, Harkless, Aminu, and Nurkic, or you can do a stack with Dragic, Richardson, Magruder, and James Johnson. I think that might be a flyer stack right there. I'm only telling y'all this, I'm not saying you should do this. I'm saying look at what I just said and do your own due diligence. Don't say, hey, Sean, you told me to play this and I lost all this money. No, that's not my fault. That's your fault. You're supposed to do your own due diligence, okay? So my thing is I'm giving you these plays based on my personal research, and but I'm sticking to my money management. My money management says play 10% of my bankroll. Right now, my bankroll is at 93. I actually today so far I'm playing about if I include the late slate, the early slate, I kind of suck really bad right now with it. I only put in a couple of bucks or whatever because I don't do well on early slates for some reason on the weekends. So I'm still trying to crack that code. But as far as the main slate is concerned, um, you know, I'm doing about 6% tonight only because it's the weekend. On the weekdays, I usually do about 10%, sometimes 20%, depending on if there are a lot of juicy matchups that I can take advantage of. But for the sake of this video, guys, I think this is definitely going to be a good lineup to work with or build around. I think we covered a lot of value plays. I feel like we got, you know, the players that we need that will actually produce some results for us. Um, you know, if you don't like Nick Young and if you don't trust that particular system there, we can easily go with J.R. Smith again. You know, it's because it's gonna be a shoot around. It's gonna be a shoot around tonight. I do believe that. I do believe it's gonna be a shoot around. But it just depends on who's getting who's getting the most minutes. So to defeat that argument, let's go to the shooting guards. Okay, J.R. Smith, averaging about 30 minutes. No, say 25 minutes as of late. Last three over 20 minutes, 25, give or take. And Nick Young, he is playing over 22, 23 minutes. Last shoot around, he did 22.6 fantasy points. You know, honestly, take your pick. So Nick Young or J.R. Smith. Honestly, if LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Love are both out tonight, if all of them are all out tonight, J.R. Smith is definitely going to be in play. If they are in, then I would pick Nick Young. Okay, so that's my call on that as far as the value play. So we shall see about that one. Okay. So anyway, that's what I have for you guys today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you can follow me on my Instagram channel at DFS5050. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on my IG or leave a comment down below on this video when it pops up after the live feed is over with. Also, please check out a couple of videos prior. It's regarding this young kid. His name is Joshua, and one of my good friends that's here in Atlanta is helping him out and his disabled parents. And they're really in need of just donations to just keep living and everything like that, and to get the medicine necessary to sustain life. And his parents are homeless, and this guy every day after school, mind you, this 14-year-old kid after school goes out and he I don't want to say peddle, but he's asking people to for money so that he can so that him and his disabled parents can keep a roof over their head and they'll have to walk the streets of Atlanta at nighttime, with all this I guess bipolar weather that we've been having here in the South as of late. But your support in any form or fashion is greatly appreciated. If you've tuned in long enough, I hope that you are able to donate to the cause. We've had some news coverage over this, and we're just grateful for everybody that's really helping out Joshua and his family. And I'm making it my business to to donate money every week. Because there's power in giving, guys. It's not about us at the end of the day. It's about helping out our fellow man. And so just wanted to just add that in there. Again, this is your boy Sean Black. That's SEANBLAQUE. please check out that video. It's on my timeline. Please check it out. Your support, again, is greatly appreciated. I hope that everyone cashes well tonight. You know, this is how I do what I do, guys. Also, a couple of notes on the DFS tip. Make sure you have a pen and pad. Make sure you write down your ideas. Make sure you write down some concerns, and that way, as you're writing everything down, you're getting more clarity as to the type of players that you should be playing for that evening, and go from there. If you are reading this, not reading this, but if you're hearing this right now, Manu Ginobili and Dewante Murray are both out tonight. Okay, so a lot of green can be in play if you want to use green. So I think that, that might be a good situation there, Danny Green. But I don't think there's enough of a budget there. You have to move some things around for Danny Green. But anyways, we'll work that out. Y'all have a good day. Stay cashing. Remember, it's all about faith and it's all about skill. Peace.